In this module, we're talking about pre-teaching versus remediation as a teaching strategy. So most of you are probably well familiar with remediation. So that's when you have, maybe you've noticed that a student did not do so well on an assessment. So you kind of need to backtrack and remediate, meaning that, you are pulling them out for small group instruction or one-on-one, or trying to do some kind of reteach with them to go over things that they apparently didn't get the first time around. So the flip side of that would be pre-teaching. Pre-teaching really is a way to try and catch students before they fail. And it's not easy, but if you're able to find time for reteaching, then you're probably able to find time for pre-teaching. So pre-teaching means that you really need to know your students well. Well, in that you need to know the skills level that they're at. So for example, if you were going to be moving on to, addition, and addition with like, 2 or 3 digit numbers, it would be really important that they understand place value, have some kind of background on place value. But if you know that from a pre-assessment or even a previous section that you had covered before that they struggled with place value, you can pretty well predict that they're going to end up struggling with addition and subtraction coming up. So what can you do? You can try and pull them ahead of time before the lesson to kind of build some background knowledge or bolster some skills. This also helps too, I think, with students that maybe are maybe English language learners, just building some background knowledge as far as maybe vocabulary is concerned. Sometimes that's all they really need in order to be able to have a good understanding. And then by doing that, it gives them an opportunity to really participate in the lesson and kind of build their confidence level. So I'll sometimes pull kids, ahead of a lesson that's coming up, during our morning meeting time, or we have a structured study period too, and just say, hey, I just want to give you some tips before we get into this. This is kind of what's coming your way, and these are some things that I think would be good for you to know, and you can kind of be like my go-to person, when we cover this lesson in class. And that really helps to kind of build some confidence there too for some of the kids that normally wouldn't participate in class. So anyway, this is just something for you to think about, pre-teaching versus remediation. I had posted that little video that's there too in it. I'm not really advocating one method over another, but that it's something to think about and to consider as an instructional strategy. Okay. Let's see, so let's go back. So there's a video for you to watch, and then there's 2 articles to reference about pre-teaching versus remediation.